Okay, let's begin. Good morning. This morning we are going to have a look at beautiful painting of Byzantium. We're going to look at Byzantine art. Actually, the photographs I took is from art book. I didn't take a photograph directly from the paintings. So, but the color production is good, quite good. So, actually, when I was in Sligo, I visited university there. It's something like technical college or something like that in Sligo. And Yeats spent his childhood in Sligo, and Yeats' daughter kept all the books. Yeats' daughter, Anne Yeats. She was an artist. As you know, Yeats had wanted to become an artist, attended art school and gave it up, and turned to painting and turned to poetry. So Jack Yeats was the greatest Irish painter, Impressionist painter, but it's hard to call it impressionistic because his painting is actually expressionist painting. And one of the greatest expression painters is Oskar Kokoschka. He was Australian. Kokoschka adored Jack Yeats' painting. He was influenced by Jack Yeats. Quite interesting. Another thing, Samuel Beckett. You know Samuel Beckett? The playwright. He received Nobel Prize in literature, and he was a friend, a personal friend to Jack Yeats. Synge was also a friend to Jack Yeats. And Jack Yeats was a playwright and the storyteller, story writer. It's interesting. I got a book of plays written by Jack Yeats. And strangely, Jack's older brother, William Butler Yeats, never mentioned. He hardly talks about his brother's works, written works, plays and things like that. But he talked a little about Jack Yeats' short stories. I think it's fascinating. It's very strange stories. So all of the families are artists or writers, and Anne Yeats kept the books, all the books. So when I saw the art book for the first time, I was excited. Oh, it must be. It looks very old. So I thought the book had belonged to Yeats, the poet, because there was no publication date in the book. So I wanted to know it had belonged to Yeats or not. So I talked with the librarian, and she checked the date, publication date. But unfortunately, the book was published long after Yeats died. But Anne Yeats and her father were artists, and the poet's father was a painter also, right? So they must have talked about art and Byzantine art and things like that. So Anne Yeats must have bought that book for practical purposes, right? Maybe she wanted to look at the paintings, but certainly, if you look at paintings, you will see that the style, the colors, the atmosphere resemble the mood in the the 2 poems, right? Sailing to Byzantium, right? I was looking for the bird image, but I couldn't find it. Still, you can find the saints on the wall. And so we're going to have a look at the paintings, okay? If you look at the poem, you'll see that the form is highly regular, very strict, very regular. But if you read it, it flows well. It flows freely, right? So it sounds quite natural. So a lot of effort went into the poem, actually. And the first poem, Sailing to Byzantium. How many stanzas, stanzas are there? 4, yeah? 4 sections. And how many lines in each section? How many lines? 8. All the stanzas, each of them has 8 lines. And look at the rhyming, rhyme scheme. Stanza 1, the young, trees, song, seas, long, dies, neglect, intellect. Right? A, B, A, B, A, B, C, C. Right? Quite regular. And also look at the measure, the stress in the lines. Strong and weak stresses in the line. That is no country for old men, the young, in another's arms, birds in the trees, those dying generations of the song, the salmon falls, the mackerel crowded seas. This line, the salmon falls, the mackerel crowded seas. Very musical, right? Right. Fish, flash or fowl, fish, flash or fowl, command all summer long, whatever is begotten, born and dies. Caught in that sensual music, all neglect monuments of amazing intellect. So everything is calculated here, right? But it flows naturally, right? Stanza 2. An aged man is but a paltry thing. The line itself, the line is very impressive, right? A paltry thing. An aged man is a paltry thing. And then the following line is what? Impressive, right? Stronger. A tattered coat upon a stick. A tattered coat upon a stick. Right? An aged man is a tattered coat upon a stick. When you say, if the second line is put in the first line, it will not be that strong, right? An aged man is but a paltry thing, then opposition, right? A tattered coat upon a stick, so it becomes a little strong and stronger, right? And things like that. An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick. And then look at the punctuation. What is it after stick? Comma. Right? You don't have to put a comma here, but Yeats used the comma. Why? To emphasize the break. Emphasize the break. Also, you have to give a pause here. You have to pause here, right, after the comma. So, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless it also is broken, right? Into the lines are broken here, right? Unless soul claps its hand in singing and louder sing, for every tatter in its mortal dress. Nor is there singing school but studying monuments of its own magnificence, semicolon. And therefore, I have sailed the seas and come to the hoary city of Byzantium. Okay? An aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick, unless so clap its hand and sing louder for every tatter in his mortal dress, nor is there a singing school but studying monuments of his own magnificence. This is one single sentence. Right? All right, single sentence. And therefore, semicolon, and therefore, actually, this stanza is divided into two parts, right? The part before the connector end, and the part after the end, right? Two parts, right? And the adverb, therefore, is quite strong. And so, no, and therefore, I have sailed for the seas and come to the holy city of Byzantium. And look at the rhyme scheme. Thing, unless sing, dress, dying, magnificence, dress, magnificence, come, Byzantium. Right? A, B, C, C. Right? Stanza 3. Oh, Caesar standing in God's holy fire, as in the gold mosaic of a wall, come from the holy fire, pound in the gyre, and be the singing masters my soul. Consume my heart away, sick with desire, and fasten to a dying animal, it knows not what it is, and gather me into the artifice of eternity. Okay. First line, oh, Caesar standing in God's holy fire, as in the gold mosaic of a wall, come. The verb is what? The subject is what? The subject is what? The speaker is addressing whom? The Caesars, the saints on the wall, right? Up there, on the wall, right? Oh, Caesar standing in God's holy fire. And actually, the poet is addressing to the mosaic, the saints in the mosaic. No, I don't think so. Why? The connector is as in the gold mosaic of a wall. What does it mean? The sages are not in the mosaic. They are in the imagination in heaven, right? Jesus is imagining the sages, and the sages look like what? They look like those in the mosaic, right? So, oh, sages standing in God's holy fire, just like in the gold mosaic of a wall, he's addressing the sages. Come from the holy fire. So it's like the painting, right? He imagines. You cannot imagine without looking at the real things, right? So come from the holy fire. Turn in the gyre. Turn is a very strange word, but turn in the gyre, and be the singing master of my soul. This is the first part, and second part in this stanza. Consume my heart away. Okay, the first part, the poet addresses the sages and say to them, come. He is pleading, come from the holy fire and burn in the gyre, and be the singing master of my soul. The verb is what? Come, turn, and be the singing master of my soul. Very, very, very powerful. Very. The poet is very passionate, right? Consume, again, verb, right? Come, burn, and be the singing master, and then consume. And then the final verb is what? Which one is final verb? Consume and gather. So do you know why this stanza is so strong? The stanza feels quite strong. Why? The poet uses verbs, strong verbs. Verbs, right? first it says consume and turn, right? Turning, right? Turn, which means turn, to turn. Turn, be the singing masters, and then consume, and then what? Gather, right? So, consume my heart away. Okay, eat my heart away. Sick with desire and fastened to a dying animal, the soul, right? The soul, my soul. The soul knows not what it is, and gather me into the artifice of eternity. And look at the line scheme: fire, wall, kaya, fire, kaya, wall, soul, A-B, right? Desire, animal, desire, animal, gather me, eternity. Gather me, eternity. So, the final stanza: once out of nature, I shall never take my bodily form from any natural thing, but of such a form as Grecian ghosts may make, of hammered gold enameling to keep a drowsy emperor awake. First part, very long, right? Very this is his desire, right? To be out of nature, right? Once out of nature, I shall never take my bodily form from any natural thing. But I shall take such a form as Grecian goldsmiths make. Make of what? Make of hammered gold and gold enameling to keep a drowsy emperor awake. And what kind of form? Such a form. Such a bird, golden bird, or set upon a golden bough to sing the lords and ladies of Byzantium, about what? Singing about what? Of what is past or passing or to come. Look at rhyme scheme: take, thing, make, enameling, wake, sing, Byzantium, to come. And stanza 3, there is a slight variation, right? Gather me, eternity, right? This is the only regular lines, right? Rhyme here, right? The rest of the rhymes are quite regular, right? So it's great. It's very carefully written poem, right? And so it's one of the best. And a few years later, Yeats did another poem about Byzantium, and the poems are not divided into sections, but still, how many stanzas are there? This time, one more line, right? 5 stanzas. And how many lines are there in each stanza? 8, again, 8, right? Byzantium. The unpurged images of day recede, the emperor's drunken soldiery are bad, night resident recedes, night walker's song, after great cathedral gone. A starlit or moonlit dawn disdains all that man is, all mere complexities, the fury and the mire of human veins. Again, the unpurged images of day recede. The poet is focusing on the images, right? The images bird, the image of mosaic, right? And the unpurged images of day, images recede. The emperor's drunken soldiery. The emperor's drunken soldiery. Soldiers, right? Soldiers, but the emperor's drunken soldiers are bad. Soldiery is better, I think. Soldiery are bad. Look at punctuation. semicolon, 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 right? Semicolon. So each of the images are closely knit, right? Close knit, right? So the emperor's drunken soldier are bad. Knight resonant recedes. Again, the verb recede. The emperor's image recede. Knight resonant recedes. Night worker's song. After great cathedral gone. Which one is missing here? This is opposition. Night walker's song and night resonance, same thing, right? Night resonance recedes, but they are different, right? Night walker's song and night resonance, they are the same thing and also they are different things, right? Right? Right resonance is part of it, right? Part of it, right? Maybe something else besides night walker's song, right? Night resonance recedes, night walker's song. When? After great cathedral gone. Semicolon. A starlit or moonlit dome disdains all that man is. Starlit or moonlit dome, what does it mean? Starlit or moonlit dawn disdains all that man is. He's talking about the religion, right? Starlit, moonlit dawn disdains all that man is. All mere complexities, right? All mere complexities. Humanity, right? Human affairs. The fury and the mire of human veins. Fury and the mire of human veins. Human veins. Right? When you get old, the blood vein sticky, right? The blood does not flow well, right? So, the word mire, right? The fury and the mire of human veins. Stanza 2. Before me floats an image. Before me floats an image. Man or shade, an image. What is it? A man or shade, or the speaker does not know. Shade more than man, more image than the shade. So these two lines what expresses well what the poet is thinking. He's wondering, what is it? What is it? What is it? Right? So, before me floats an image, man or shade. Shade more than man, more image than a shade. Look at the punctuation, semicolon. For haze bobbin bound in mummy cloth, haze bobbin bound in mummy cloth may unwind the winding path. Wonderful, wonderful, right? The haze bobbin bound in mummy cloth may unwind the winding path. What is he talking about? Life. Life repeats itself. Huh? It's bound and then unbound. Right? A person is born and die and is born again, wound and unwound. Right? Right. So, for haze bobbin bound in mummy clothes may unwind the winding path, semicolon. A mouth that has no moisture and no breath, the verb is samon. May samon, breathless mouth. Okay? A mouth that has no moisture and no breath, may samon, breathless mouth. What does it mean? A mouth that has no moisture and no breath, what kind of person is it? Is it human, alive? Living man or dead man? What kind of dead man is it? He can speak, right? He can speak. Probably the man in heaven, right? In hell, right? Right? So he's talking about paradise or Hades or hell, right? A mouth that has no moisture and no breath makes them on breathless mouth. Breathless mouth. Breathless mouths represent too the people who died. Breathless mouths. And they will judge them. He will judge them, right? A mouth that has no moisture and no breath will judge them, right? Breathless mouth makes mourn. I hail the superhuman. I hail the superhuman. I call it death in life, life and death. Actually, this image, the imagery in this stanza strongly resembles the imagery in what kind of poem? Romantic poetry, romantic poem by T.S. Coleridge. Did you read The Ancient Mariner by T.S. Coleridge? None of you? Okay, yeah. It's a long poem about ghosts. A sailor experiences a strange thing. He killed an albatross, and they were cursed and suffered. Right? And he came back to his country, and he met the ghosts and things like that. So life and death, death in life, right? I call it death in life and life in death. Okay, stanza 3. Miracle, bird or golden handiwork. Miracle, bird or golden handiwork. More miracle than bird or handiwork. Again, this stanza takes almost the same form as in stanza 2, right? Stanza 2. Before me flows an image, a man or shade more than man, more image than a shade. And then here, stanza 3, miracle, bird or golden handiwork. He's talking about bird, of course. More miracle than bird or handiwork. What kind of bird is it? Where is it? Planted on the starlit golden bough. The verb is here. Miracle can crow. In what way? Like the cocks of Hades crow. Can crow like the cocks of Hades, right? Or embittered by the moon. By the moon embittered. Scorn, verb is scorn. Can crow and can scorn, allowed. Scorn is a verb, is a transitive verb. Which one is object? Scorn. The next line? No. The next line after that, scorn, common border peril. Common border peril. And all complex to mire of blood. Right? So, or by the moon embittered, by the moon embittered, scorn allowed, in glory of changeless metal, in glory of changeless metal. What does it mean? Miracle. Bird or golden handiwork, right? Miracle. Miracle. Made of what? Changeless metal. Meaning gold, right? Gold. In glory of changeless metal, scorn, common bird, the ordinary birds or flowers, petals, right? Common bird or petal, and all complexity of mire or blood. So in here, the speaker must be changing his mind, right? In Sailing to Byzantium, he praises the golden bird. But here, a slight change is taking place here, right? Right. And stanza 4, at midnight, on the emperor's pavement, fleet flames, fleet, fly, right? Flames flight, flames fly, or flames fleet, that no faggot feeds, no faggot feeds. What does it mean? A mouth that has no moisture, and fleet fire, that the fire that no faggot feeds. Faggot, like small twigs and things like that. To make fire, you need sheets of paper or things like faggots, right? No faggot feeds. Flame that faggot feeds. Nor steel has lit. Steel has lit. What kind of flames is it? Flames, the flame that no faggot feeds, nor steel has lit, nor storm disturbs. Flame begotten of flame. So what kind of flame is it? The flames in heaven, or the flames in Hades, or hell, right? Where blood-begotten spirits, the spirits who died on earth and which came here, right? When the blood-begotten spirits come and all conflicts of fury leave, dying into a dance, agony of dance, an agony of flame that cannot singe the sleeve, an agony of flame that cannot singe the sleeve. So he's talking about what? Haze, the condition of haze. Right? The fire cannot singe, cannot burn your sleeve. Right? So it's like in it's like description, as in Milton's Paradise Lost. If you look at if you read the first part of Paradise Lost, you'll see this kind of image, right? Flame that cannot singe the sleep, right? The image, right? So, at midnight on the emperor's pavement fleet flames that no faggot feeds, nor steel has lit, or storm disturbs, flames begotten flame, where blood begotten spirits come, and all complexity of fury leave, dying into a dance, an agony of trance, an agony of flame that cannot singe the sleep. And the final stanza, astraddle on the dolphin's mire and blood, dolphin. When you die, how could you travel to heaven or hell or Hades? You fly, right? You have to cross the river, right? And can you swim? You can swim, but you will be drowned. You need something. You need a dolphin, right? So, astraddle on the dolphin's mire and blood, sprit after sprit, the smithies break the flood. Smithies, what kind of smiths are they? Smith, goldsmith, right? Goldsmith. The goldsmiths in Byzantium. The smithies break the flood. The golden smiths of the emperor, marbles of the dancing floor, break bitter furies of complexity. Those images that yet begat fresh images, that dolphin torn, that gong tormented sea. So this poem is extremely beautiful and complex, more complex than sailing to Byzantium. But again, let's look at the rhyme scheme. Stanza 4, fleet, lead, flame, come, live, dance, trance, sleeve. Blood, the flood, the emperor floor, complexity yet begat sea. So the poem is highly sophisticated, though it's highly conventional, very formalistic. it feels much freer in this poem, right? The contents form is much freer here than in the Sailing to Byzantium poem. Right? Okay, good morning. This morning we are going to continue. We're going to continue reading Sailing to Byzantium and Byzantium. And last time we've gone through the 2 poems, and also we saw the Byzantine art, Byzantine art, right? But some of you are absent, so I'm going to show you the Byzantine art. Okay, you see the painting. This one. What is the major color here, right? Gold, right? Gold. Unfortunately, we see a bird here, right? But okay. Too dark. Leaf from an ivory. Archangel, made of ivory. Mosaic. This one, we had a clear picture last time, right? Mosaic from San Vitale in Ravenna. Maybe I can show it, show the picture next time again. Clear picture, this one. Mosaic. Another picture. Saint Mark's Basilica in Venezia, right? Venice, this one. These are the saints, right? Okay, that's it. So in those 2 poems, what kind of image is prominent? What? An animal. What is it? Bird, the golden bird. What does it symbolize? The bird, the golden bird, symbolize what? What do you think? Art, right? Permanence. Permanence, right? But actually, the artwork is permanent. Do you think the artwork is permanent? I don't think so. It'll be destroyed, or the paintings, the life of painting, maybe it's 1,000 years, less than 1,000, right? The Renaissance paintings, how old are they? 500 years, right? So everything will disappear, right? Relatively, they look permanent, right? They look permanent, but they will disappear, right? Yeats knew this, and one of his friends, George Moore, when he read the first poem, Sailing to Byzantium, he said that the birds, the artwork will disappear, like human beings. Nothing lasts forever. That is true. And then Yeats wrote another poem, Byzantium. So the 2 images are different, right? And so we are going to finish reading the second part of the essay, right? Okay. I think you got the essay, right? Section 4. Section 4, page 15. Actually, this is a discussion mainly is about the 2 poems, as a discussion of the 2 poems. How do we deal with the 2 poems' inherent paradox, which makes critics voice different tones and pitches? First, Sailing to Byzantium. On one level, the bird of artifice represents what we wish to be, as Albright indicates it. On another level, I think, it represents the act of creating visions of heaven, borrowing the images of the ancient civilization Byzantium. Third, to read it more literally, the bird of artifice represents what we wish to create, his poem, an artifact, which is immutable from a human perspective, not from the perspective of the cycle of nature. Such an artifice, were it the poet, the poem, would sing of the cycle of nature. The poet knows well that an artificial bird cannot sing. The bird is symbolic of a poem, a poet or poem, and the poem sings of the singing of man's capability of imagination and creation of a thing based on the imagination. But let us go back to the poem's paradox. If the golden bird, the artifice of eternity, which is in Byzantium, is to sing of the mutability of nature, change of nature, why does the poet have to declare at the outset of the poem, there is no country for old man. There is no country for old man. Couldn't the speaker just sing of Byzantium and the things of Byzantium directly? Similarly, why has he sailed to Byzantium? And can't he sing of nature in Ireland? And where are the sages? As Helen Wendler claims, are they in the invisible realm of eternity, standing in God's holy fire? Why does the immutable bird sing of the mutable nature? This selfish incoherence, as raised by these questions, seems to ask us to look into something else in Yeats, that is, the mental and physical conditions of Yeats. As Wendler says, he may be impotent, interjecting his sour note. What does it mean? He was an old man. He was an old man. He married at age 72. He married a young woman at the age of 25, right? And so maybe this is right? He may be impotent, interjecting his sour note. Those dying generations sing of whatever is begotten, born, and dies. To answer the first question, that country or island is the subject of his earlier poems, but now he may want to write a poem, such as Sailing to Byzantium, which will last like Shakespeare's. Considering his old age, it seems quite natural that the poet wishes to write such a poem, though it has become such a paradoxical poem as Sailing to Byzantium. But the important fact is the poet reverts to that country of his old theme with more refined poetic diction in Byzantium. The Byzantium is Byzantium. The Byzantium in the poem Byzantium is more like island in disguise. Sailing to Byzantium is greatly considered the perfect poem which praises the immutability of the artificial bird in gold that is singing of the past, the present, and the future to lords and ladies of Byzantium. And I agree, the poem is about immutability, but this reading seems based on the last part of the poem rather than the whole of the poem structure. But what I emphasize is the first stanza is as important as the rest of the stanzas in creating a sense of structure and its meaning. From this perspective, it is certainly a poem, both of Ireland, which symbolizes mutability, that is no country, and of Byzantium, which symbolizes immutability, the holy city of Byzantium. The second question, where are the sages, raised by Helen Wendler, is interesting. The sages are the saints depicted in the mosaic on the wall of a cathedral, Yeats has once seen. The mosaic is in Istanbul, yet Wendler says there are in the invisible realm of eternity standing in God's holy fire. Wendler is right. He is alluding to the construct of the speaker poet's imagination. The speaker poet of the poem is with the sages and Yeats' imagination. He, looking up, is addressing them to come down and gather him into the artifice of eternity. Here, notice the term artifice, which implies the poetic skill, the artist's poetic skill, as well as the artifact. In fact, where is the speaker in Sailing to Byzantium and Byzantium? Yeats the poet is in Ireland. The speaker of the poem is in Byzantium, as Yeats says in his A Vision, his book of prose pieces. A Vision. I think I could find in some little wine shop in Byzantium some philosophical worker in mosaic who could answer all my questions in early Byzantium, religious, athletic, and practical life for one, and that architect and artificer spoke to the multitude and the few alike. This is an ideal state, right, where everyone can understand everything, right? Both the philosophers and the common people, right? The poet cannot go to Byzantium, not only because it no longer exists in the world, but also because he is now in Ireland. The poet sends his speaker to Byzantium in Sailing to Byzantium, singing of that country as well as Byzantium. In Byzantium, the speaker is in Byzantium. It is necessary that we not confuse the poet with the speaker, though sometimes the speaker and the poet in the two poems are one and the same. This question of where is that country, a few critics have tried to answer. Nicholas Green references two scholars, Norman Jefferson, Daniel Albright. Green begins with a stylistic element, a full stop. Green says, the Cool Park and Tower poems are embedded in real places. We are going to read a Tower poem, a poem called The Tower, and in comparison with the Korean poet's poem. It is more problematic in cases such as Sailing to Byzantium, in which the symbolic appears to be liberalized by the poem's emphatic didactic markers. There is no country for old man. With this conclusive full stop, this seems a definitive enough statement with no hint of inner landscape. It is decisive opening, the turning of the back on whatever country that is. So we might legitimately expect to find out from the poem what country the poet is so decisively abandoning as unsuitable for old men. A.N. Jeffers, in his new commentary on the poems of W.B.H., provides the fullest gloss. The salmon falls in line 4 of the first stanza is probably a memory of the salmon at Galway, west of Ireland, Galway. Daniel Albright, actually these two scholars, Nicholas Green and Daniel Albright, are coming this fall to attend the conference here. The conference is to be held, the International Conference on Yeats will be held here, and next semester when you take my course, and you can attend the conferences, right? You can meet them, right? You could meet them. Daniel Albright and Nicholas Green. They are great scholars. Daniel Albright is somewhat more tentative in his note on the line. There is no country for old men. The following details suggest that the country is Ireland, famous for salmon streams, but the line also contains a pun on Tirna Noch, literally the country of the young. Let's look for a stylistic element in Sailing to Byzantium. The poet is physically in Ireland. He has sailed to Byzantium, but only imaginatively. It is essential that our mind, as part of the poetic construct, not get lost and argue about the location of the country and the sages. We did not keep our wit and imagination together. We need just keep our wit and imagination together, catching up with the poet's ever-expanding metaphors with the suspension of disbelief. So we can be immersed in the artifice of eternity. To cite one example, the conjunctive unless in stanza 2. In stanza 2, we tend to believe that an aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick. Critics think that the speaker is Yeats, an old man at the age of 61, who is impotent, and that since he is old and impotent, he is leaving the land of the young. This reading is reasonable, considering his age and health when he wrote this poem. But what Yeats wants to say here is not simply about youth or old age. He is talking about the old and new poetry he has written and is to write now. So, for now and for him, what matters is how important it is to sing and louder sing for every tetra in his mortal dress. Just as the poet has sung of the country, that is, what he has done in the earlier poetry, the speaker now wishes to sing of the new with the poetics of maturity. The term aged is not pejorative. It is rather emphasis on the intellect wisdom that have gathered with his advancing age. Thus, he needs sing for every tetra in his mortal dress. It seems that critics fail to cite this supremely Yeatsian aim in this poem. Yeats has already noted this point in stanza 2 using unless. Unless is a conjunctive, and the line break Yeats uses here is not usual. An aged man is but a paltry thing and a tattered coat upon a stick, unless, break, right? Unless soul clap its hands and sing, and louder sing, for every tetra in its mortal dress. The conjunctive unless usually is followed directly by the clause, but Yeats breaks it up to give a pause for emphasis. And the subordinate clause that begins with unless usually comes before the main clause, as in unless soul clap its hand. An aged man is but a paltry thing. With this double emphasis, Yeats draws attention to the intellect and wisdom of an old man, with which he would write a new poetry. The answer to the third question, why does the immutable bird sing of the mutable nature, is that a poet is destined to sing of nature, mutability, but that the poet wants to create a poem that would keep singing for all men, like an immutable artifact in a museum. Then it becomes clear that the poet is then living for a new poetics in the first poem, Sailing to Byzantium, and then he has finally reached that poetics in the second poem, Byzantium. That is, in Sailing Byzantium, he is on the point of leaving the old poetics for a new one. And in Byzantium, he reverts to and consolidates his older poetics of the cold and passionate, making it new. The poem of Byzantium consists of 5 8-line stanzas, although the speaker I is in the very place he belongs to enter, Byzantium. It is being described as a purgatory, as in Milton's Paradise Lost. It is no longer an ideal place he longs for, as expressed in Sailing to Byzantium. It is a place where the smithies break the flood, the golden smiths of the emperor. The golden smith is no other than the poet and artist who could break the flood of blood-begotten spirits who come astraddle on the dolphin's Mayan blood. The Byzantium in Byzantium is a mirror image of Ireland or any place torn by war. As the first stanza begins, the unpurged images of day recede, the emperor's drunken soldiery are bad, night residence recedes, night worker's song, after great cathedral gong, a starlit or moonlit dome disdains all that man is, all mere complexities, the fury and the mire of human veins. This is definitely a remake of the first stanza of Sailing Byzantium, which goes as below. There is no country for old men, the young in one another's arms, birds in the trees, those dying generations at their song. The salmon fall, the mackerel crowd sees, fish, flash or fowl, command all summer long. whatever is begotten, born, dies. Caught in that sensual music, all neglect, monuments of an aging intellect. There is difference between the two words. Byzantium in Byzantium is a place where souls gather and stay, while that country is a place where all the living things are begotten, born, and die. In both places, men are more mere complexities and need to be saved by golden smithies. What draws our attention is the key image of the golden bird of sailing Byzantium has not changed in Byzantium. Miracle, bird or golden handiwork, more miracle than bird or handiwork, planted on the starlit golden bow, can, like the cocks of Cades, crow, or by the morning bird, schooner aloud, in glory of changeless metal, common bird paddle, and all complexed of mire or blood. In conclusion, although the two poems have glimpses, visions of heaven, both in here and in Byzantium, what the poems want to do is to extol artist artifacts, as in lapis lazuli. All things fall and are built again, and those that build them again are gay. Lapis lazuli is also one of the greatest poems by Yeats, right? In the face of the inevitable cycles of death and rebirth. Then, why are the two poems different? The poet had been in different conditions of health. Yeats was 61. He wrote Sailing to Byzantium in September 1926, but following long illness in the spring of 1929, his life returned as an impression of the uncontrollable energy and daring of the great creators. On 30th of April 1930, the first prose draft of Byzantium was made. In Byzantium, the poet speaker, now in Vigroncel, sings of Byzantium, which is much like the here and now, though it fits well with the heavenly place, where the emperor reigns, where the goldsmith is representing the poet and artist break the flood of blood-begotten souls, while in Sailing Byzantium, the old protagonist longs to be a golden bird of artifact in Byzantium. Okay, and this morning we are going to read another poem by Yeats, which is called The Tower. And in the poem, you can see the glimpses of death here. And this poem is compared with Kim Jong-il's poem, this superb poem, which is called A Couple. It's a depiction of himself and his wife, a very beautiful poem. Okay, we'll take a 10 minutes break.